I'm Lori Flaquette of Soltar Solutions, and today I'm here on Focus Forward. I have Polly Meyer with me, but before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about Success Magazine. I've got to tell you, I am addicted. As soon as I get this magazine, I rip it open, I grab the CD, I jump in my car, and I always feel like wherever I go, I get there too fast. So I love it. I recommend everyone to read it. It's phenomenal. I really love that it's multimedia and that you can read the articles and you can listen to that CD, and that makes drive time so much easier. So today we have Polly Meyer here, and she is founder and principal consultant of Image on Camera. Polly, tell us about what it is that you do.
Well, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.
I have been working in the media for about 8 years here in the Twin Cities. And what that means is, in front of the camera, I'm a commercial talent. So you can see me in local, regional, and national commercials. A lot of medium-sized companies and large-sized companies will hire me as their spokesperson to represent their company on video or on their website. I'm on a lot of commercials, well, I already said commercials. You can see me in print. I'm on the sides of boxes. I'm on the sides of buses on occasion. I hang in Target.
I hang in Target. I hang in Target too, with my credit card in hand. It's not the same.
I'm the one there saying, spend your money.
So it's your fault.
It's my fault. And then I'm also a guest host at Shop NBC.
Oh, great.
But I also have this company called Image on Camera, and that is where my heart lies. And what it is, like I had mentioned, there are many medium-sized and large-sized companies that want to hire spokespersons to represent their company. But small business owners, they don't necessarily have the resources to be able to hire a spokesperson to represent their company. So it's going to fall to them or someone in their business. And more than anything, they want to come across as confident, likable, credible, knowledgeable, and they have so much anxiety that they're not going to come across that way. And so what I do is I teach them the skill set that lets them do that.
Wow, that's great. How long does that take?
You know what? It is surprisingly quick, and we can get so much work done in just an hour. But the more they come in, the more we work with them, the more they get from it. And if they don't have a media department, we can make their videos for them in our production studio. And if they would rather make their own, we teach them how to do that as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're saying that initially you can see a huge difference in an hour.
Oh my gosh, yes. We get them into our studio. That's where we're located in Minneapolis. And we get our clients on camera right away. We get a baseline. We ask them about their message. We have them deliver it, and they can see where they are. And then we start tinkering with that message. We start pulling out the sound bites. We start working with the way they engage with the camera. We start working with their voice. And by the end of that hour, it's like an entirely different person is in front of that camera. The professionalism, the credibility, the likability, the personality that comes across, it gives me goosebumps. And the best part, because I know you're going to ask me about success stories, and I should have just waited, but I can't help it, is it's not just necessarily a success story. It's watching the amazing growth in your client who's in front of you in that hour or over that period of time that you're working with them. But that's not the best part. The best part is seeing that they're not just using the skill set in front of the camera anymore. The skill set that we teach is transferable. So now they're giving presentations. Now they're taking on things at work that they would never have taken on before.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It gives them
Wait
an
a
added
minute.
confidence
Wait a minute.
that is just amazing to watch. And I see it again and again and
So
again.
you're talking about you spend an hour or 2 hours with somebody, and this is permeating their entire
Oh my gosh,
life?
Yes, it is. Yes, because it shows them how to relate to other situations using these skill sets. And it's actually, these are skills and talents that all of us possess already. It's just bringing them out.
Okay, all right, you know what? We've got to get down to the nuts and bolts here.
Yeah, I brought lots of tips. I brought lots of tips, lots of advice, and we'll go from there.
Okay, what is the common most common problem you see that right away you work with?
Okay, bar none. The biggest thing that is an obstacle for anyone who is new coming on camera is low energy. 95% of the people who just are starting out being on camera, they think that they have great energy, but actually they're too mellow. So if they're talking like this on camera, you know, and they're kind of just rambling on, and you know, they're just having normal, just conversation, it's a snooze fest. It's boring. We're going to shut you off. Boring. So, but the other 5% are total energy nutcases, and their energy is way up here, so they're either hitting their mark or they also need to take it down a notch. But what
We know which one I am.
But what the average person needs to do if they're just starting out with camera, practice on camera. They need to be able to see themselves, even if they're just at home in front of their own PC, or else, you know, they're doing it on their iPhone. Practice. Practice just coming across with your message, whatever you want to say, normally. Watch it. Now, you're going to take that same message, and they're going to make a parody of themselves, and they're going to have their energy way up here while they're talking, and they're going to see that that's too high. They're going to want to bring it down a notch. You want to find that 11 and stay there. That's the sweet spot. Now, if I were at your house doing mosaics and drinking wine, I wouldn't be talking like this. I'd be talking like this, but this is boring on camera. So you need to take that energy up and keep it there. That's the number one thing, people, about coming across with great energy on camera.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Yes.
So start out with a baseline, see how you are on camera, go up to a 12, really high, and then bring it back just a tad.
Exactly. That's the sweet spot, and you need to work at it to keep there. And another thing is, if you have, let's say you have guests on your show. If you are a guest on a show, this is important. Don't sit back in your chair and look like this, because it makes you come across as aloof. Take that energy, bring it to the front of the chair, and stay here and have that conversation. It shows that you're present. It shows that you're excited to be there. And your energy, it comes out when you're here at the end of the chair.
Well, the other thing is they say when you're talking on the phone,
Yes.
stand up.
Absolutely.
And always have a smile on your
Yep.
face. You can tell the difference when somebody has a smile on their face and they don't.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes. And if you are on the phone, you need to talk more. Give those indications that you're listening. Yes, sure, because that keeps that energy right there as well.
I have a big problem with that. I don't do that. I just listen so intently.
I know, and then I'm like,
then they
are
go,
you
are
there?
they there? Are you there? My brother always says, beat the phone up against the wall so I know you're there.
Yes.
So this is great. So the first thing is we already figured that out, and that was energy. Okay,
Yes.
what is the next thing that people have to work on?
Okay, I sent you some pictures in your email. Did you happen to get those?
I got them,
The before and the after shot?
but I couldn't open them.
Okay. All right. I sent you some pictures, and it was a before and after. Picture of before my makeup and after my makeup. Now I'm almost glad you couldn't open them, so you can't see my before. But the reason why I send them is because I often feel kind of ridiculous talking about appearance when the content is really what should be driving the importance of the message. The message is what's important, okay? So you have a reason to be on camera, and you see a lot of these bloggers who are at conventions and stuff, and they're pulling people aside, you know, wanting to get these interviews and stuff. And it really goes to a person's credibility if they really check their appearance and they come out as a professional. So appearance does matter, people, and we're going to talk about that right now. For example, let's start with clothing choices. If you're going to be on camera, I recommend, whether you're a man or a woman, going for some really nice jewel tones. Do you see how you got that beautiful blue and you are popping on camera? And I know you pop because I was watching your other videos and I was looking at the clothing choices that you had. So yes. So if you notice that I picked a really nice,
It's gorgeous. I'm
beautiful
painting my
green.
bathroom that color. I love it.
Because this is going to make sure that you don't blend into the background. For men, I see a lot of men wearing those muddy brown suits and gray suits. Boring. If the guys want to come across and be dynamic on camera, they should look dynamic. So that also means maybe choosing a purple or an orange tie instead of a blue or a red one, unless they're running for president. Okay? For women, let's get back to men. You don't always need to wear a business suit, but don't wear a t-shirt unless you're a dude or a surfer or
Don Johnson.
or Don Johnson.
Miami Vice.
Or, a plumber perhaps, and you're on camera. You're someone who's working around the house. That's fine if that's what your normal uniform is. If you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, just wear a collared shirt, and you're going to come across just fine. Now, for ladies, simple is best because you can dress it up, but simple is always safe. Now, V-necks and scoop necks are always flattering. Now, unless you have great arms, I would also recommend wearing a long sleeve shirt because even great arms tend to look fleshy, So nice long sleeve, scoop neck, structured dress versus a polyester one, which kind of shows like every little bump and bulge. So, nice structured dresses are nice. Skirt, pants are good as well. Let's see, where else was I going to? Jewelry. If you're a lady, a woman, always wear earrings because the lights hit the earrings and it lights up your face in a really nice way. But only wear dangly ones if you're in the creative industry. Now, how many times have you watched, let's say, the Today Show or something, and you see a guest come on, and they've got this big, bulky, frou-frou scarf and the danglies and the bracelets got that go ching, 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 ching. Are you at any point listening to what they're saying anymore? No. You're listening to the ching, 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 and you're wondering about that crazy scarf that they got going on. Now, I don't know if I said this about patterns, but safety-wise, men or women, you want to stick to solid colors. Now, you can wear patterns. Patterns are fine, but if you get to those small patterns, it does something crazy with the cameras. The cameras can't always pick it up. So if you have a herringbone or small stripes, I was going to say thin stripes or small little checkers, it's going to look kind of like a strobe light effect on the camera. And then they're no longer listening to you anymore. They're like, oh, look at that trippy tie they've got. What's that? I can't watch anymore. So there's another thing with that. You want me to keep going?
Sure. It's interesting because at NBC, we had jackets in the closet in case somebody did come and show up with a jacket that wasn't going to work on TV.
Right.
Because the viewer would get sick watching it.
Yes.
So we had ties and we had jackets and we had things like that right there in the closet to make sure.
Was this for men and women or just men?
Just men.
Do you ever have jackets ready for the women?
No, we didn't. We didn't have that.
Sometimes it's really a sad fact for women, but if they want to come across as businesslike, they need to throw that jacket on. Unfortunately.
Well, most of it, I'm going back to the 80s, and women were dressed like imitation men to begin with.
Yeah, and we had hair way up here that if it didn't hit the top of the ceiling of the car when you got in, it wasn't high enough.
Exactly, exactly. And, they were running around with their little briefcases and their little Peter Pan collars.
Yes.
So, the 80s and the 90s, it was, especially in New York, people tend to dress a lot more. Anyway, so what we would have, the other thing is, because of financial news, most of the people that we had, like probably 95%, were men. So we had, so we had that stuff there for them. But you know what? I have to stop you for a second because Robert is here, and I need to toss to Robert so he can give us tips from the net, and then we'll be right back.
Nice.
So take it away, Robert.
Hey, I'm Robert Dempsey with this week's Tips from the Net. And I was watching a very interesting TEDx Boston video by a guy named Andrew McAfee, and he was talking about how robots are taking over the jobs of people and that that trend is just going to continue. Now, where does this fit in for you? Well, it made me think of technology and marketing. And today we have lots of data available from analytics programs, from social media, from all sorts of sources. The amount of data that we create is just incredible, the amount of stuff that we have available to us. But with this glutton, or this glut of data, I guess you could say, that we're getting, we also now have the technology to analyze a lot of this data. And so when it comes to marketing and using this data for marketing purposes, what basically just the lesson here and the point I want to get across today is that if you are doing marketing, because you're getting a lot of data, you absolutely need to use technology to help you to handle this. So on one of the shows on Focus Forward, Lori and I spoke about a great tool called Follower Wonk, which will analyze your Twitter community, your followers or people you're following, or you can analyze someone else's Twitter community if you're into competition analysis. So we got lots of data, need a way to analyze it, must embrace technology, otherwise we're just gonna get bowled over in the flood. So that's it for today's Tips from the Net. I will see you next time.
Thank you so much, Robert. That was great. Okay, back to Polly. Polly, we're talking about wardrobe and we're talking about what not to wear on the camera, what to wear on the camera. So there you are.
Okay, well, let's take it to the hair, okay? Hair is a good one. So for men, this is directed towards the men. Well, actually, let's start with anybody. Studio lights pick up frizzy hair and makes you look like you've got a halo on. So unless that's the look that you're wanting, is that angelic, halo, saintly look, you really got to pay attention to your hair before you go on camera. So now I know that, many people would take like a pomade, kind of bring it through their hair. But if you're going to be pulled aside on camera, let's say you're at a convention or something, and you don't have that, a little bit of hand lotion, just a little bit, run it through your hair really quick. It's going to tame down those frizzies, and it's going to make that more manageable. Now for men with the beard, you either have to commit fully. I know it's hard for men to commit sometimes, but you need to commit fully or go without it. Unless you are George Clooney, you can't pull it off on camera. So that's my advice for men. For ladies, straight hair or softly waved hair looks best on camera. If you got curly hair, I know I can get my hair super duper curly, but it looks like a mess when I'm on camera. So shoot for the straight hair, shoot for the soft waves, and then hairspray. Especially if you're going to be shooting the whole day, you kind of want to have that continuity. And if you think that you're going to be on camera a lot, I would recommend going for a haircut that lands anywhere between your chin line and your shoulders, because even during close-ups, your hair stays in the shot. Okay?
Great advice.
Yes.
So can we talk for a minute about beards?
Yes.
Okay. When I was working in television, the Nielsen ratings would show that men that showed up with beards didn't have the same trust level for the audience.
Yes.
So I know that that's probably relaxed somewhat, but in some cases it probably hasn't. So I'm always very leery of people when they show up and they have beards. I think it's an issue, and I think sometimes that the audience, they don't always have that high level of trust for them. Are they hiding something? Mustaches are another thing. Are they hiding something?
You almost never see a man with just a mustache on camera. To be honest, it's really the standard, the industry standard, where you either commit to a beard or have no beard. And really, there are very few beards out there on camera. You might see Wolf Blitzer on CNN, but really, who much?
It's rare.
Yes.
It's very rare,
It
and it's
really is
because
rare.
of the trust factor.
Yes.
Because the bottom line is the audience hasn't really changed their viewpoint. They haven't, maybe styles have changed, Hollywood has changed, this has changed, but the audience really still believes those certain things that they've always believed.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is that the audience members, when they watch the man with the beard, they don't really know why they don't feel that great about watching this guy. It's the beard and the mustache. Yeah.
Exactly. And when we're talking about distracting outfits or distracting jewelry, or it's amazing how much people don't really understand what it is that's bothering them.
Yes.
But something's bothering them and they're changing the channel. Right there.
Exactly. And do you know that the average person has a 9-second attention span? And if you're tripping them out with the shine on your forehead or that trippy tie pattern that's going on or that really lack of low energy, they're going to change that channel. They're not going to watch. They're going to not even just change the channel. They're going to flip to a different website. They don't want to see this anymore. They're going to go to a different video. So can we talk about makeup?
Sure.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Makeup. Guys, do not run away. This is as much for you as it is for the ladies, so sit back down. You need to listen to this. Okay, so We're going to start with the ladies first, though. Natural lighting, if you can be outside, that's the best. We're more beautiful in that natural lighting. We get to use less makeup. Now, when we're in a studio and we have these really harsh lights, we need to use the makeup or else it's going to completely, we're just going to be 2 eyeballs and not even a nose on the camera. And we need to add more makeup. So it's not like we're putting on makeup to go out to a nightclub or anything like that. We're using our normal makeup. We're just adding more to it. And there are certain things that we all need. So if I can get to the men really quickly here. Men, you need to use a face powder. And you may not think that you have a shine, but when the lights are like this, oh my gosh, that shine is blinding us, the shine that's bouncing off your head. And just about every male out there who is on camera is going to be using makeup, and they're going to come across natural, and it's not going to look like they have makeup. So you can still be manly and wear makeup. It's just for the camera. So what you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a nice container of pressed matte powder. And what you're going to do is you're just going to push it onto your face, around your nose, around your forehead. If you are hair challenged at the top of your head, you're going to put it up there as well to stop any shine. And another thing you're going to need is a concealer. I mean, really, have you seen those bags under your eyes lately? Those dark things right there, the dark circles. And I know, it might be kind of difficult, but when you are in the drugstore, you're just going to look at the concealers and just kind of like make a best guess at what color is closest to your skin tone. And you're going to use that as well. Now, for ladies, there are things that you absolutely need. So I brought my little case. If you think that you're going to be on camera a lot, I know.
I love it.
If you think you're going to be on camera a lot, you're going to want to have a bag with some essential things in it. Okay, so you're going to want to have a lotion. All right. Now this is not only to get your hands nice and soft, but it's also to run through your hair really quick if you need. Guys, throw a little bit on your lips before you start to talk. For ladies, you're going to want to start with a good foundation. It's just going to even out your skin tone. I mean, hey, there's some of us who still have really young kids, or we're like you, we're working really late, and sometimes we just look kind of haggard. This is just going to even out our skin tone. You're going to bring it down here as well. Nice concealer to cover up those dark circles so that we look fresh. Again, you're going to want to find a compact that has your matte powder. Excuse me. Now, for our eyes, for the ladies, no matter what set I've been on, and I've been on a ton of them, they almost always are going to use browns, creams, or grays. Okay, that comes across naturally. You're not going to look all made up. And a blush. A blush is great because it's going to look like we're nice and awake. We weren't up with that kid at 2 a.m. We're feeling really good. You can also swipe some across your lips. And mascara so that you can make your eyes pop. Okay? All right. So these are all things that if you think that you're going to be on camera for you're going to start doing this for a living, always keep these things with you so that you are ready to go.
Well, that's great. Great advice.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, so those colors that you brought out there, I think that it's very important
They're
that
pretty standard.
Yeah, that you use those colors because they're going to work in any studio.
Yep.
Other colors might not work in certain studios depending upon lighting.
Right.
So that's important. Okay, so now let's move forward.
Sure.
Okay, we look great, we feel great, we're alive, we're awake. Okay, now what do we do? And our energy level is higher.
Yeah, our energy level is high.
What do we do?
Okay, the next thing I would talk to anyone about is that weird camera gaze that people get when they're on camera. Like you got somebody's website, and there's they have a great website. I'm so happy. It's like I'm looking for a house, and I go to their website, and there's the realtor, and oh my gosh, that he's talking about a house that I love, and it's in my price range and everything, but he's got that weird gaze that when he's talking to the camera, and I don't really think I can buy anything from him anymore. I'm going to go look for somebody else. People, when you are in front of the camera, what you're doing is you are engaging with the person on the other side of that camera, whether it's your client or your customer or your Aunt Nancy or your mother or your husband. You're not really looking at the lens, because when you look at the lens, then it's kind of weird and it's kind of shifty, and then you don't really know where to look, and you're kind of looking all over, and then before you know it, they're not watching you anymore. Or else they're watching you, but they're not paying attention to what you're saying. They're just watching you be weird. So
That doesn't sound like it was going to work.
No. So if you are going to be, let's say it's not a talk show like this, but let's say that you're creating a video for your website, a welcome video or a demonstration video. You want to hold the gaze of the camera, and you want to hold it. You don't want to look to the right, look to the left. You don't want to look up or around. You want to hold that nice steady gaze. And if you have to look down, it's okay. You can look down, but get right back up there again. Because sometimes it's hard to hold that gaze. You feel kind of weird. But hold the gaze just like I'm holding it with you. You're thinking about the person who you're talking to. And if you need to, just look down and look back up. And it's okay to have notes. Like for you as a host here, it's okay to have notes. And sometimes if you're talking to the camera and you need to look down, just look at the notes and glance back up. Don't miss a beat, and it's fine. Reporters dive in their notes constantly. Look, watch the Today Show. They've got notes in their hands and they never use them, but it's just kind of nice to have.
Well, I think that they do that so people can think that they're more human.
Yes, that could be too. That could be too. Sometimes it's just a comfort to have them, even though you may never even use them. I think that here's what I think what happens with notes is that once your hand goes down on that paper and you start to write out what you want, it kind of like travels up to your brain and it's there, you know?
Absolutely. I have to write everything down.
Yep, I do
But I
too.
never do for the show because most of the time when I'm talking to somebody, it's just a
Natural.
conversation, and I
Yes.
know I want to, if I was the viewer, what would I want to know?
Yep.
You know, and I
absolutely.
just have this conversation. So now I am sure that people are saying, okay, what 3 tips can you give us that you haven't already given us? Say we're going to be walking to the set now, or we're going to be creating our video now. What are things that we have to keep in our mind right now?
Okay. Number 1 is be prepared. Okay? Know what you're going on camera for. Okay? So how much time do I got?
You have like 3 minutes.
Okay. Know what it is that you're going to be talking about. And like if I was coming on your show and I didn't, how do I want to say this?
Well, we prepared for this.
We did. Lori was really nice. She kind of sent me some sample questions over. But, I kind of already knew, what I would be talking about. And if anyone goes onto a talk show like this, they're going to kind of have an idea of what's going on.
Well, you did research. You did
research.
research. You looked at the other
Yes.
shows.
You want to be prepared and also be prepared with what you want to say. Now, I agree. I mean, I think that it's important to have a top line. Okay? Know what it is that you want to say. Get it into your mouth, get to know the feel of it, and then you can relax, okay? From there, get 3 things that will either support that top line or demonstrate it. And from there, you're gonna finish it off with something that can either end it or bring the conversation forward. Now you might say, well, I'm on a half hour. That top line and those 3 things aren't gonna get me past 10 minutes. Create as many top lines as you need with supporting things underneath it.
Well, I think that's great advice. You know what? We have to stop.
No,
we're out of
you
time.
Gotta have
I can't
me
believe
back.
I'm gonna have you back. I'm gonna have you back. Thank you so much, Polly.
My
This was
pleasure.
great, and thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you again. If you have any questions or you'd like to, send in any show topics, things that you're interested in, please feel free. Thanks a lot.